earlier, when Aam Aadmi Party was given the status of national party, whereas Trinamool Congress, National Congress Party and Communist Party of India actually lost this status. So definitely this is the year when political parties were in news, and that is why this becomes very important to get into this topic and understand all its details. Hi everyone, I am Neelam Bhatia and this is Educamy's Prelims Gear Up program, where we help you revise some very important topics that can help you get extra marks in Prelims 2024. So you are in safe hands and stay back till the end. The topic that we'll be taking up today is elections and political parties in India. I must remind you that UPSC has also asked questions on this topic before. So from PYQ perspective also, this topic is very important. Now what do elections do? If we go to the core of it, elections help the adult citizens of a country to participate in the governance of the country. Because in India, we follow the concept of universal adult franchise, which basically means that you become eligible to vote as soon as you attain the age of 18 years, irrespective of your race, religion, caste or gender. So definitely elections are the way through which citizens ensure that the democratic fabric of the nation remains intact. Now in India, we primarily follow two types of election procedures. One is the first past the post system. For your exam perspective, remember, first past the post system is used in case of elections to Lok Sabha and elections to state legislative assemblies. But we also follow proportional representation, which is used in case of elections to President, Vice President and to Rajya Sabha. Now the most important component of elections, the political parties. So political parties are those organized groups who come together with certain common agendas. Why do they form a party? So that they can get into power and implement their program and policies for the welfare of the nation. Individually, this is difficult, therefore they come together as a group. The question comes up, do they find a mention in the constitution? Now remember this. Political parties do not find a mention in Indian constitution. Therefore, we can call them as extra constitutional bodies. However, this in no way means that they are not important. They're definitely very important for the functioning of our country. And that is why they do find mention in Representation of People's Act 1951. However, if there is a question as to whether they are constitutional bodies or not, the answer would be a no. Now understand this. I'll be using two words. One is recognition and one is registration. So both of these with regards to political parties is taken care of by Election Commission of India. So any political party that wants to function in the territory of India has to register with the Election Commission. Registration का simple मतलब है, you go to Election Commission and they register you as a political party. This is not equal to recognition. Think of it like this. Registration is step number one and has to be done by you by filing in a registration procedure with the Election Commission of India. But not all parties who register with Election Commission become recognized, because to get into recognition mode, whether as a national party or as a state party, you have to fulfill certain criteria. To summarize, every political party that is recognized is registered, but not all registered parties are recognized parties. This is very important because this takes us to the third and the important part of this topic, that is recognition as national party and as state party. So once you have registered with the Election Commission of India and you fulfill certain criteria, you become eligible to be called as a state party. And if you fulfill certain other criteria, you become eligible to be called national parties. Let us one by one see what are the criteria that you need to fulfill to become a national party. and what are the criteria required to become a state party. Now before we move to that, let me remind you that along with this lecture there is a downloadable PDF available which contains all the important areas discussed in this particular video. We have also given you previous year's questions so that you can revise, and the icing on the cake or the cherry on the ice cream, whatsoever you may call it, is the idea that we have given you certain links. Now these are the links to certain current affairs articles that were in news with regards to the political parties and elections in India. So it would be very good if you read through this article. Your preparation for prelims would be rock strong. Now let us move to what are the criteria to become a state party. First, you should have got 6% of the vote share in the last assembly elections, plus 2 people should have been elected as MLA. Or the second thing can be 6% of the vote share in Lok Sabha elections from the particular state that you want to be recognized in, and along with it at least one MP should have got a seat in Lok Sabha. Or, now please note, after every criteria I am saying or, so it can be either this or this or this. So the third or that we'll discuss is at least 3% of seats in the last assembly elections or 3 seats, whichever is more. This is important. So either 3% or 3, and what would be considered? Whichever would be more, either the 3% or the 3 seats, or at least one MP on every 25 or whatever is the fraction that is allocated to that particular state, but this is for Lok Sabha. So if the seat criteria is not fulfilled in case of state, we can even take up Lok Sabha as reference, but you must have at least 1:25 or whatever is the ratio that has been decided for that particular state. And the final or is at least 8% of the valid votes polled. Now this can be for the state legislative assembly of that state or in the elections to Lok Sabha. Now see, all these criteria are given so that if any one of this fits in, then that particular party can be recognized as state party. So now I think the clarification is with you. A registration merely is signing up with the Election Commission of India. Fulfill any of these criteria and you can be recognized as a state party. As of today, there are 54 parties which are recognized as state parties or regional parties. Now since we have understood the criteria for state party, let us move to the criteria for national party. The first criteria is you should be recognized as a state party in 4 or more states. Now this is according to which AAP got the status of national party. So the first thing is to be recognized as state party in 4 or more states. But there is a or. The candidates should have secured 6% of the total valid votes polled, but from at least 4 or more states, and along with this at least 4 MPs in the Lok Sabha. Or the party should have secured at least 2% votes from 3 or more states. Now remember, there are 6 parties who have the status of national party as of today, and it would help if you know their names. One is the Bharatiya Janata Party, the Indian National Congress, Bahujan Samaj Party, CPI-M, and National People's Party. Along with it, the latest addition, that is AAP, that is Aam Aadmi Party. So these are the 6 parties that are recognized as national parties in India. Now you may ask, what are the benefits of this recognition as a national party or a state party? Now definitely there are some added advantages. For example, you get a reserved election symbol, which means nobody else can use that election symbol. You also get certain time on the national television to broadcast your party's aims, policies, and what is going to be your future plan of action. Besides that, you're also consulted before fixing up the schedule for elections, and at the same time, your inputs are taken while formulating the rules and regulations of the election procedures. Now, before we wind up this video, let me quickly take you through the historical developments in the party system in India. This is important. Now, since India gained independence, the very popular party that we all know of was Indian National Congress. And essentially from 1951 elections, it was the Congress party that was the face of the nation. So definitely this arena from 52 towards 64-65 can be called as the Congress system. And it is often even called the one-party dominance era because all of the parties did not really get a share in the working of the country. So this is called the one-party dominance era, which was kind of challenged after the death of our first Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. So 67 onwards, you see various regional parties coming into picture. And this trend solidifies in 1977 with the coming of Janata Party coalition. Why? Because this is when regional parties or state parties, which we just understood, get a share at the central level. And this is the coming of coalition era in Indian politics, which essentially meant that there would be a main party or the party which has the majority of numbers, but there would be some other parties that would support this party. So for example, you've heard of UPA or NDA. These are alliances which come together and run the government. And from that time onwards, we do see that Indian politics has been governed by coalition. However, post-2014, of course, the majority government idea has come up. Essentially from this time onwards, coalition politics starts in India. And we see a lot of coalition governments that came up in India where the regional parties become important. So this was all about elections and political parties in India. We understood quite a few points with regards to recognition, with regards to election system in India. Please revise this for your prelims examination and trust me, you will get good marks. Now, before we kind of say you bye for today, let me tell you that Educhemy has a very intensive prelims preparation program which we call as prelims support program, which is more or less a hand-holding that we do for you and help you gear up for your prelims examination. So do watch out for that, do become a part of that and make your preparation very strong. Take care.